Welcome everybody to the Carnivore Experience. This is Bill, and I wanted to pass along a kind of a serious thing that we encountered since we started the Carnivore Diet back over a year and a half ago. Probably about a year and 8 months now we've been on it. Now, I know that the title to this said, beware, first problem, whatever it was, but this is not something health related that you have to be aware of, but can be very costly and something that we've just discovered was a problem that we ran into. Now, about 3 months ago, we live in the state of Wisconsin, and the county we live in wants us to do a septic system inspection. And we have about 2 to 3 months to get that set up and everything. And we have the same company do it every time. And we've done this now since we lived here back in 2003. And it's never really caused any issue other than having to spend $300 every time you do it. And, I have to dig up the lid and everything like that. And living out in the country, we have our own well and our own septic. So we're not living on city water and city sewer. So for those of you living in an apartment or, living in a city environment, I don't know how this would affect things. But the gentleman who came out, and once we had done that and came to inspect the septic, and actually we opened it up and then they clean it out, he looked at me and he said, I only see this when I'm cleaning grease traps at like restaurants and large facilities that cook. He goes, this is really kind of weird. And as I looked down into the septic tank, I noticed that there was a cap of this white fat in there and yellow fats and stuff. And he goes, look at that. It's chunks of fat, and it was very thick in there. And we had gone about 3 years without having it pumped, and we were due. And he said, yeah, this is really weird. And you have to be very cautious with that, because having a septic system, you also have a drain field. And if this leaks into the slotted pipe that goes out into your drain field, and understand I am not a plumber by any means whatsoever, but he kind of explained it to me, it can plug up your drain field, and now you've got some very, very costly repairs. So he asked what the heck was going on. Why was there this much fat in our septic system? Well, as you can imagine, over the last year and 8 months, a lot of the cooking, or all of the cooking we've been doing, revolves around fat, whether it be fat from beef tallow, pork, bacon, all those other things. Regardless, that fat has built up. Well, we noticed, as that was going on, we did start to notice some things in the house were acting kind of weird as far as the plumbing went. And he said, we put some of that bacteria that they've got, and it said right on the bottle, he highly recommended it, seeing as we're on carnivore, that this fat eats the solids in there, or not fat, the bacteria that you can get. You dump it into your septic tank, and that bacteria eats the organic products that are in there. And it includes, it says right on the bottle, it'll eat the fat, or fats, byproducts and things like that. So we dumped some of that into the septic tank, and we're hoping that this is going to help to eliminate the problem. Well, the problem did rear its ugly head the other day, and it was just this morning that I ended up having to work through this, and this could have been an absolute disaster. And it was a very big mess. Well, which sink in the house is primarily dealing with all of this fat, especially when you're doing the cleanup? Well, our kitchen sink. And our kitchen sink was starting to back up. And I was like, well, what's going on? And the worst thing is under our sink where the dishwasher drains, it's kind of an open pipe, and it was backing up and leaking out through this pipe. And I'm talking, you dump a large, amount of water down that sink, and all of a sudden you just had a colossal mess. Wendy contacted me at work and said, Bill, we've got water seeping down into the basement. It's leaking out onto the floor in the kitchen. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And we've had a lot of rain here lately, and I was worried that something was going on with our septic. Well, this morning, I thought yesterday actually that I had it taken care of. One of the things I kind of suspected it had something to do with the fat, so I probably put 30, 40 gallons of various boiling water down there, which then kind of loosened that up and liquefied it and got it out of the main pipes, and it was draining fairly well. Well, lo and behold, this morning she goes into it and she starts using it and cleaning up some dishes, and it starts leaking again. So I had to go downstairs, grab a channel locks and pull up a bunch of ceiling tiles in our basement and get to the actual 2-inch PVC pipe that runs from our sink. It tees, and then it goes all the way to our septic tank. And let me tell you, I've had to do this years ago. I had a nail plugged in and I hung a 6-gallon bucket. I got some big ones that I had used at the brewery for malt. And I hung this big 6-gallon button and I put that channel locks on there. And I started loosening this cap. That's kind of the cap for cleaning out this pipe if you have to. And when that pipe cap opened up, not only did I get covered with a bunch of crud that I won't even go into, but a plug that was probably 2 foot long, solid grease and byproducts from the food that have gone down the sink comes out of that pipe into the bucket. And it was very obvious. It was fat, congealed fat. And what I had ended up doing the day before was loosening that all up and actually making the problem worse. So the only way to get that cleaned out was opening that clean out cap that was on the plumbing and constantly having to take and get into that pipe with a fish and get that stuff out. And I can't even begin. I filled that 6-gallon pail 3 times. You could look at this as almost 18 gallons of this stuff I pulled out of that pipe. So why we were blocked up was very obvious. So the lesson from this, Carnivore has treated us amazingly well. We're going to stay on it. This little hiccup is not going to cause us any problems, but we now know we have to be very, very careful how we get rid of the fat that's left over in the pans, how we process it, what's going down our kitchen sink, because if this would have been unchecked, this could have cost a lot of money. The problem could have just compounded itself. For those of you, this message that I'm giving you is pay attention to your septic system. If you haven't had it inspected and looked at, and you've been on carnivore for a while, watch out for problems. If you notice your drains are starting to go down, especially in your kitchen sink, watch and look to see that that could be the problem. It doesn't hurt to put some boiling water down your pipes to try to clean some of that out. And what we're going to end up having to do now is be very careful and dispose of our fat. It can't go down the sink, because if we send it down the sink, this problem is going to happen all over again, and it's going to get expensive. Not to mention, I don't like getting covered in sewer water and old sink water, and it was disgusting. So this was one of the negative effects of carnivore, not a health effect, although it could have been a very expensive household cost if I would have had to retain a plumber to come in and do that. Now, when I finished up the pipe and the trap that was on it and cleaned it out, it looked probably, I would say, about 80-85% clean for the extent of how deep I could get in there. I could still see chunks of stuff hanging, but there were no solid plugs of stuff that were in there. So please, watch your system, your septic systems, your drainage in your pipes, your kitchen sink and everything else, because those fats can build up, and find ways to dispose of that and not send it down your sink. Maybe this was a stupid thing we did. We just didn't think about it, but it ended up over time building up and taking and causing a problem. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I mean, not a lot of YouTube videos on the carnivore diet talking about your septic system. But like I said, when the inspector came out and we pulled the lid on the thing, and you know what you see in those, he was shocked. He thought he was cleaning out a grease trap. And it doesn't seem like we're putting that much grease down our drain. But over time, it accumulates. And what does it do? It rises up to the top, it solidifies with that cooler water, and it causes a problem. So, sorry, this is kind of a crappy topic, no pun intended, but watch your systems, have them inspected, and get that bacteria that they're talking about that can go in and aid in that. And don't hesitate, if you're putting that fat down the drain, every couple of months to send 10 gallons of good hot water down there to try to break some of that stuff up. Other than that, We got my video out the other day on the brewery that we just opened. You're going to be seeing more of that coming here in the future. And we've gotten a lot of great comments on that. Please, if you like what we're doing, we're back in the game again, putting these videos out. Like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps out. And this is the kind of message that I want to get out to hopefully solve and help people before this becomes a problem. So I hope this helped you out. Keep aware of it and like and subscribe to the channel. Everybody, the next couple of videos we do, I'm hoping to get Wendy back in. She's been very active at the brewery, getting things set up. You can check out the Carnivore Brewing Company on Facebook if you'd like, and actually see all the different things that we're doing. And the great news is I also got my permission to start brewing here, and I'm going to show you guys the different ways that I can make some beers and things that might be a little healthier to have on Carnivore. So you guys have an amazing weekend and a rest of your up and coming week, and we'll be getting back to you. Have a great day. Bye now.